So I don't think anyone else is going to do a video about this topic, and I really want to see it, so I might as well be the one doing it, right? So let's get going. So let's talk about ValAngel, the most controversial ship of the Helliverse. First, I want to establish that I'm not going to talk about just the show, but also the material that is classified as dubious canon at best, aka canon to proving not. Those being the pilot, the prequel comic Dirty Healings, and the Addict music video. I'm going to talk about how the relationship was portrayed in this material and how can it influence the way we see them in the canon show. I won't talk about the old instas though because we are told they're already non-canon, and the live streams because it's info that is already present in some places and I don't want to be redundant. No, starting from the pilot, we don't actually get much on them. While Angel's base characteristics are pretty well established, like his personality, his dynamic with the hotel crew and Cherry Bomb, and his profession and his addiction. We don't get much on Valentino. Only a short scene of the V's together and a quick shot of the test chain between him and Angel that we'll need to pause to read. Those texts establish that is Angel's boss and has little care for Angel's safety since he sent him out on the street to work right after his termination, a time he could assume there will be more risk of him being attacked, with the fights for turf happening and all. We even see Angel get involved in one of those, and he shows off that's pretty good in combat actually. If Val knows this and thinks that Angel can take care of himself is not very clear, but is an assumption you can reasonably make. One last thing of note in the texts is we see Val using generic pet names like Baby and Sugar on Angel. Not much to establish the dynamic is actually like, but enough to tell us a little bit about how Val talks to Angel, and that's it for the palette. Now, in the webcomic Dirty Healings is when things really get going. In the comic, we are shown how Veggie and Charlie recruited Angel for the Hazbin Hotel. But most importantly for this video, we also see Valentino having dialogue for the first time. I'm not recapping the story, but you can read it on the link in the description. I'm just going to highlight how the comic portrayed Angel and Valentino and what that did for the perception of their characters, okay? Now, for Angel, we see more of his fighting skill, especially with his guns. Also, how confident he is going alone against a gang of shark demons and managed to take care of them almost on his own. But then, right after that, we see his confidence diminishing the moment Valentino shows up. Angel tries explaining to him what he was doing, and that's a thing of note that Angel was confident enough in himself and his skills to just go against Valentino's orders in the first place. But the moment Val raises his voice and grabs his face, Angel just folds to him and goes along with the orders. And that's very interesting to think about for me. It really comes across that Angel is not necessarily terrified of Val, but is still compliant to him to avoid a bigger conflict. Later on, we see more interactions of Angel and Veggie and Charlie. And we also have the establishment of Fat Nuggets as Angel's beloved little pet. But I'm not talking about their characters today, okay? So let's go focus on Val. Now with Val, the first thing we get established with him is how much of a sharpshooter he is. Like, the guy managed to hit a target from inside a car when the target was in another building. Like, that's really impressive. We also see Valentino with some Mark candy for the first time, and that combined with his design we already saw in the pilot really establishes him like a really 90s pimp stereotype, and that's really fun. Then Val uses more cutesy nicknames for Angel again. He calls him Angie and Angel Cakes, and also Baby and Sweetheart. He really talks over Angel and really doesn't seem to pay attention to him. So from Valentino's side, we get that he's very dismissive of Angel, while really trying to look caring, but at the same time imposing to him and showing off that he knows best and that Angel really should obey him. That's Val's mentality, at least. So from the comic, we got a lot more, really, but what really developed them and add the little thing that's still missing from we understanding their relationship, and this is where the addict music video comes in. And like most of the music in the Helloverse, we just need to really pay attention, not just for the lyrics, but also the visuals. And we need to remember that it's never one to one with what's actually happened. Like those shows like to use metaphor and really go way more for the emotional side of things instead of what the characters really describing what is happening. So yeah, let's go to the video. Like overall, the main thing we can take from the music video is how Angel feels. He's trapped in the addiction cycle, and the addiction is not just the literal drugs we already know that he uses, but also his general lifestyle, like the money, the fame, and all the attention and the fans, and how he combines everything to as a distraction from the bad parts of his existence in hell. Like we have Angel thinking back on his own death, but he quickly dismisses it, and Valentino himself incentivizes Angel like don't give a damn attitude. We see Angel putting up with the bad bitch act under the spotlight, only to then cut to a breakdown of him in his room being confronted by his only friend, Cherry Bomb. And while this isn't about her and the relationship, I feel like it's important to point out that Cherry too has drug addictions and complicated relationships, and we see that Angel relies on the emotional support of someone that is going through a lot of similar shit that he is, and that's probably leading them to just enable each other's bad coping habits and emotions, making them both be even more stuck in the cycle. But that's something the show will probably touch more in the future. Now, the next notable scene is the first instance we see of Valentino sexually harassing Angel Dust. That is really memorable and shocking scene, and one that really changed the tone of the Has-Been project in general when it was first shown. Like, we have Valentino pleased with himself, pulling Angel into his lap and trying to kiss him, only to turn aggressive as he faces a refusal from Angel's part, but he overpowers Angel and forces their face together in quite a brutal way. Then we keep quick cut to Angel just trashing his room and crying alone, and like that tells us all that we really need to know about his feelings and what things that he's going through. Like this is such an important scene for Angel's character, showing us that even though he is a fighter, he's definitely not above being broken and being left having to pick up his own pieces, and that's really heartbreaking. I'm going to go a lot quicker for the rest so we can go to the conclusion soon. Then let's go. And then we see Cherry and Angel have fun together, showing that they're uplifting each other, even if it's just for a little while. And they're blowing up the club as an act of rebellion and catharsis for them. But then we see in the background that is just a dream, just a power fantasy, and it just pulls the rug right under the viewer in a way that I just find superb. Like, what can I say? I really like the angst. And then after the credit scene, we have Angel being more self aware of his fucked up situation. Like he's back to reality, and he rejects his Charlie's advances and trying to comfort him. He has a flashback of Val abusing him, but still at the very end, like he tries being positive and think that maybe this redemption thing will actually work for him and maybe make his life at least a little bit better. And that's it for the music video. And was all we got for a long while into the show premiere. What we got in the beginning was Valentino being a pushy, kind of creepy boss, and Angel fighting but still going along with them. Only to the music video just comes in and introduces the sexual abuse aspect. We see Val being a flat out abuser and with Angel just trying to fight, but we also see that he's really fragile and he's really breaking under all the things that are happening to him. And that the hotel is really Angel's escape and hope that maybe his afterlife will be a little bit better. And that's it for the pre-series ValAngel. Now, in my opinion, this far, the handling of the ship was pretty well. and sprinkle a little bits of the dynamic in the beginning and then sucker punches with the ugliness, and I love it. I really like the angst. We are shown so much of Angel, his highs and lows, and what his future may bring. We also got a pretty intimidating and hateable villain in Valentino, one that just was already had so much potential as an obstacle, and we didn't have to touch in his allies. But I feel like the show really introduced like a different emotional layer to their dynamic that I feel changed the way a bunch of people saw the situation, and it turned it way more relatable and make a lot more people interested in the dynamic. But that's something I will touch in the next part. So, what your thoughts? Did you think the Hellovers handled well those two before the show? Did you think the video was watchable in any way? What are your opinions on Angel, Val, and their relationship? Comments are fun and I will read all of them. Honestly, I will just be happy if you just watch and leave a like. And that was really fun. Thank you for watching.